Okay, so then on number 4, let's work that one out. Very similar setup. May here paints and sells ceramic vases for $35 each. There's my rate. Each month, she typically breaks 3 vases. So there you go. You're losing those, just like that. Those shirts that we've lost, we're losing them. How much money will she earn if she sells 17 ceramic vases? And then how many vases will she need to sell in order to earn 600 bucks? So it sounds very similar to what we just did here. We're losing these vases. So let's set this up like we did there. Now, for number 4, this was number 3 here. I'm going to move number 4 all the way to the end where I have more work. Practice number 4. So in the factored form they want again, and then they want the general form, or another way that you guys are used to seeing that is again called slope-intercept form. Okay. In both of these, we start off kind of the same, f of x equals. Now the general form is where we're usually kind of at, where she's selling these for how much again? $35 each. That's my rate of change. That's my slope. So the slope or the rate of change is $13 per vase. So 13x is if we weren't losing anything. We got all our vases, we weren't losing any. But unfortunately, we are losing some. Okay, so how do we deal with that? So for each vase that we lose $13. So in this case then, let's see, did I say 13? Sorry, I don't know why I said 13. It's $35. I don't know where I got 13 from. Let's try this again. 35. She sells them for $35 and she loses 3. I think I got something mixed up in my head there. So if you lose 1 vase, that's $35. You lose 2 vases, we double it. That's $70. We lose 3 vases, there's another $35. So we're losing $105 off of that, off our profit. Now what that looks like in factored form is that $35, that rate, times the vases we sell minus the ones that we always lose, minus those breaking ones. So that's the factored form. Now from there, what we want to go ahead and do then is go ahead and calculate our intercepts. Our y-intercept and x-intercept the same way. The y-intercept occurs when x is set to 0. Now we can also just identify it, as I said before, right here in general form, our slope-intercept form. The answer should be negative 105. But if you don't realize that, okay, we set x to 0, and then slowly work it out to get my y, my f of x. That's the same thing, guys. So we just use it in different forms. So when we do that, 35 times 0 is 0, and that's where I said we can always get the y-intercept from slope-intercept form, okay? So that makes sense. We've sold 0 vases, and we've lost $105 because we lose those in those 3 of those in the kiln, okay? For the x-intercept, as we said earlier, it occurs when y is set to 0, or that's your input, when the input is set to 0, sorry, when the output is set to 0. So 0 equals 35x minus 105. So let's go ahead and solve that. Now, we want to basically figure out when we break even, okay, when we get out of that negative. And it should occur at 3, because 3 vases that keep getting broken is taking me down 105 bucks. So I need to sell 3 vases to get back to $0 to break even. So that's going to be my x-intercept, all right? So the graph of this, again, what I would suggest you doing is go to your calculator, punching this in or even punching that in. Either one is going to give you the same one, okay? Because as we said in our class today, or not just today, but other periods, if I distribute this, 35 times 1, 35 times -3 takes me to the same thing. So when I graph it, I'm going to make a rough sketch of it over here. I'm going to graph the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Okay, the y-intercept is way down here at -105. Okay, so way down here is 0, -105, the y-intercept. And then we make 35 bucks, buy somebody buys one. We make another 35 bucks, buy somebody buys one. We make another 35 bucks, and eventually we crawl our way out and we get to the x-intercept, where our graph starts to cross the x-axis at what we call the x-intercept. And that's where then we get out of that, and then we can start to make money. Okay, so my line would look something like this. So once I sell 4 vases, that's where I'm getting into the positive territory. Now the last part that it wants me to do then is, on the end of number 4, how many ceramic vases will we need to sell in order to earn $600? So that's the output. How many vases do we need to sell in order to get $600? So we're going to add a 105 to the other side, as we've been doing. 705. Now again, it's probably not going to come out to be a nice number. 705 divided by 35 is 20.1. So one more time, where do I round it? Do I keep it at 20, or do I round this up to 21? Well, if you're thinking about leaving it at, say, 20, then you're saying, hey, if I plugged in 20 vases, then 35 times 20 is 700. Minus those that keep breaking, I'm at 595. And this is then not the case. So I want to round this up to 21 vases, because at 21 vases, 35 times 21, that's 735. Minus those 3 that keep breaking, now I'm at 630, which we want. So 21 vases to earn at least, that's not a very good sign, to earn at least $600. Okay? All right, that's where I will